Hello viewers, welcome back once again to another vlog on Introduction to Development Models. So let's understand first what is a model. A model is indeed a tested and a tried means, sort of a framework which provides the practical norms and guidelines in regard to how a particular program should be implemented. Scholars have termed a model as a brief form of theory. Basically, there are two types or two schools of thought when we talk about the development. One is the old paradigm of development, that is the Western model of development, and the other one is the new paradigm of development, which is known as the alternative model of development. In Western model of development, we focus more towards the societal changes, the changes at a larger scale. But in alternative model of development, we focus more towards the individual aspect towards the more deep root level of the development. In this video, we are going to talk on the various types of development models. They are Western liberal model of development, welfare model of development, Socialist and Marxist model of development, democratic socialistic model of development, Gandhian model of development, and sustainability development model. So let's start with the first one, which is a Western liberal model of development. This model is also known as the market model of development, as it states that for any development एक free market economy होनी चाहिए, राइट और किसी भी डेवलपमेंट के जो बेसिस हैं वो उसके कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस एंड ऑल राउंड इंडिविजुअल डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर फोकस्ड होते हैं. दिस मॉडल बिलीव्स दैट द पॉलिटिकल डेवलपमेंट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. मतलब अगर कोई भी कंट्री जो है, नेशन है, वो पॉलिटिकली स्टेबल है तो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट के लिए भी इट्स गोइंग टू बी सपोर्ट मेजरली. एंड ऑल सोसाइटीज़ बेसिकली डिपेंड करता है कि जो भी आप जहाँ जिस भी नेशन में डेवलपमेंट हो रही हो, ऑल सोसाइटीज़ अंडरगो सम स्टेप्स और चेंजेस फ्रॉम ट्रेडिशनल, ट्रांजिशनल एंड मॉडर्न स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. सो हाउएवर ये जो मॉडल है इट वॉज क्रिटिसाइज्ड बिकॉज वन इट डज नॉट सूट द डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज़, राइट क्योंकि वो बात कर रहे हैं वहाँ पर की पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी और एक डेवलपिंग नेशंस में जब अपने आप रिसोर्सेज हैं और धीरे धीरे वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपने आप को स्टेबल करने के लिए, तो ये मॉडल बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं था. एंड मैनी ऑफ देम फील दैट इट एक्ट एज अ सोर्स ऑफ न्यू colonial control of the rich and developed countries over the economies and policies of the developing, that is the third world countries of the world. Again, there's another model here I would like to talk about, that is Rostow models of development. ये भी जो मॉडल ऑफ डेवलपमेंट जो रोस्टो ने दिया था, ये भी बिलीव करता था कि किसी भी नेशन के लिए, डेवलपमेंट के लिए, किसी भी सोसाइटी के लिए उसको डिफरेंट स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट के थ्रू जाना पड़ता है. कोई भी ट्रेडिशनल सोसाइटी हो उसको पहले प्री कंडीशंस बनानी पड़ती हैं डेवलपमेंट्स के लिए, अडॉप्शन के लिए, उसके लिए फिर वो वहाँ इम्प्लीमेंट होती हैं, फिर वो थोड़ी मैच्योरिटी की तरफ जाती हैं और फिर वी कैन मूव टूवर्ड्स द डेवलप्ड नेशन. तो किसी भी सोसाइटी के डेवलपमेंट के लिए स्टेजेस इंपॉर्टेंट है. So moving on to the next model of development, which is a welfare model of development, right? Or this model of development basically accepts and strongly advocate the role of a state for promoting the socio-economic welfare and common interest of the society. This model believes कि basically जो आपकी state governments हैं, जो आपकी वो that basically plays a major role in providing the services for the people. वो education field में हो, that's in health, that's in employment, social security and public distribution system. Government plays a major role. Also, it acts as an agency for promoting the desired social change and development. राइट क्योंकि क्या होता है कि जब स्टेट साथ में मिल के काम करती है लोगों के, उनको फैसिलिटीज़ प्रोवाइड करने के लिए, तब चेंजेस बहुत ज़्यादा नज़र आते हैं, सोशल चेंज स्पेशली. एंड इट टेक्स स्पेशल स्टेप्स फॉर प्रमोटिंग द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द वीकर सेक्शन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. The welfare state protects all the social, economic and political rights of the people, and in turn they believe that the people should act, socially responsible. Again, over a period of time, this theory was criticized, though this theory fall apt for the developing nations. लेकिन कुछ फिर भी सभी नेशंस, क्योंकि डेवलपिंग स्टेटस हर एक कंट्री का अपना अलग अलग होता है, तो फिर भी ऐसे बहुत सारी चीज़ें थी जो इम्प्लीमेंट की जा सकती थी और नहीं की जा सकती थी. एंड द बिगेस्ट डिसएडवांटेज ऑफ वॉज द मशीनरी ऑफ द स्टेट, right? Particularly the bureaucracy proved to be insufficient and corrupt. Welfare goals were secured partially, and that too with the undesirable delays. Right? The welfare model also made the people dependent upon the state, and they failed to make changes to themselves on a larger scale. So the third model we are going to discuss here is the socialist model or the Marxist model of development. Right? So the Marxist socialist and the revolutionary socialist advocate revolutionary means and a centralized system of economic and political relations for rapid industrialization, progress and development. This basically model believed that the power has to be centralized, right? The control of the communist state over the process of the industrialization and the development was held to be essential condition for the development, right? So such a state was regarded as a supreme agency, राइट, कि जहाँ पर आपको सारे रिसोर्सेज होंगे, जहाँ कंट्रोल सेंट्रलाइज्ड होगा, वहाँ पर उनको लगता था कि वही चीज़ जो है वो सही तरीके से काम कर सकती है. एंड इंश्योरिंग दैट ऑल द सर्विसेज लाइक एजुकेशन, हेल्थ एंड सोशल सिक्योरिटी विल बी प्रोवाइडेड टू द मैसेज. दो बहुत कम एम्फेसिस वाज प्रोवाइडेड ऑन टू द सिविल एंड द पॉलिटिकल राइट्स ऑफ द पीपल, क्योंकि उनको लगता था कि again that's a power in the hands of the communist. So they also believe that the communist states like USSR, Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, East Germany, right, between 1945 to 1990 used a centralized command economic system as a means for the development, right? But again, this society had its own criticism, right? They believed that it was weak and unproductive. In 1991, the economies and the politics of all the socialist states began collapsing. They found it is essential to adopt a political and economic liberalization of their societies, polities and the economies. So the next theory we are going to discuss is about the democratic socialist model of economy, democratic socialism, right? It is defined as having a socialistic economy in which the means of production are socially and collectively owned or controlled along a liberal democratic political system of the government, right? And the whole model was against the capitalistic approach of the development, because they didn't want the power or the control to be concentrated into few hands, कि कुछ ही लोगों के हाथ में control रहे. The democratic socialist model and the welfare state model work together for the rapid industrialization, economic growth and development. Organized planning and democratic process of politics were adopted by them. So this theory also had its own criticism, and the actual operational implementation of this model of development was also inadequate. So one of the reasons was that the bureaucratic inefficiency, corruption, faulty planning priorities and slow growth led to an inadequate success in all the areas of development. However, this model of development has also started showcasing some limitations and dangers of privatization and globalization. So another model, and the most important model that we are going to discuss, is the Gandhian model of development, right? So Gandhian, as we all are aware of the philosophies and ideologies of Mahatma Gandhi, so Gandhian model is totally different from the westernized materialistic model of development. It gives place of primacy to the moral development and ethical view of the socio-economic political development. Truth and non-violence are advocated as the basis of all the human activities and decisions. It stands for the complete decentralization of the functions and powers, with each village acting as a self-regulation and self-sufficient unit of development. It also emphasizes upon the cottage industries, handicraft, agriculture and the labor. बिकॉज इनिशियली जो हमने पहले के मॉडल्स पढ़े उसमें हमने देखा कि ज़्यादा जो फोकस था वो इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन की तरफ था, बट ये जो मॉडल था इट वॉज फोकस्ड मोर टूवर्ड्स द रूरल डेवलपमेंट एंड द स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज के बेसिस पे. द टोटल एम्फेसिस ऑफ दिस मॉडल वॉज अपॉन द सोशल इक्वालिटी, नॉन वायलेंस, truthful living, social responsibilities, dignity of labor, and moral and spiritual happiness. So development has to be measured on the scale of happiness and not consumerism and profit making, right? Talking more onto this model was focused on distributive justice, right? As we could see in this example, right? He had dreamt of a Gram Swaraj, rural independence. जब हम बात कर रहे हैं कि villages में आप जाके जब ग्राम स्वराज उनको पूरी इंडिपेंडेंस हो, किस तरीके से काम करना चाहते हैं, ग्रामीण विकास जहाँ पर हम बात करें कि रूरल डेवलपमेंट के बारे में कि हर एक विलेज को एक इंडिपेंडेंस दी जाए, उसको तरक्की करने का मौका दी जाए, सर्वोदय विच इज़ कलेक्टिव वेलफेयर, सबके लिए, एंड इंटीग्रेटेड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द नेशंस. So his model emphasized run through traditional and folk media tools for the dissemination of information. He rejected the transformation of higher culture into the material culture. So here, as you could see, the example of how he focused onto development from district to state to the national levels. And the last model we are going to discuss here is about the sustainability development model. As we are all aware, because during these years, we all are working towards the sustainability development goals. Principled and overexploitation of natural resources, air, water, soil, and the ground sound pollution, climatic change and its adverse effects on human life, all have amply demonstrated the fact that the past models so far, what all we have defined and discussed, they were not the models for the real development. लेकिन सस्टेनेबिलिटी डेवलपमेंट जो मॉडल आज की डेट में अडॉप्ट कर रहे हैं, वी आर अडॉप्टिंग इट मोर टूवर्ड्स प्रोवाइडिंग द सस्टेनेबल फ्यूचर टू द कमिंग जनरेशंस. It has made it essential for us to work for a secure social sustainability, economic sustainability, and environmental sustainability, right? And this model has some common grounds to the Gandhian model also. So the greatest need of the hour is to put in a comprehensive and coordinated efforts for securing development which is socially, economically, and environmentally stable and enduringly sustainable. So the Brundtland report defines sustainable development as the development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. So thank you. I hope you're liking and understanding the videos. In case of any doubts or queries, kindly drop a message into the comment section. Thank you.